Page 238, Chapter 14. My, Judas Ischkerioth's wrongdoings. And it came to pass that Emmanuel and his disciples and discipluses went to Bethlehem, where he taught and instructed the people. But I, Judas Ischkerioth, I who take up, or hold in writing, many truths about Emmanuel, had become disloyal to the teaching of Emmanuel, and lived only for my pleasures and desires. Secretly, I was collecting from Emmanuel's attendees, or audiences, accumulating gold, silver, and copper in my money bag, because I wanted to live vainly. And it happened that Judas Ischkerioth, who crowded around Emmanuel, and who was the son of the Pharisee, Simeon Ischkerioth, and who came from the small settlement or hamlet farm, Arioth, in Galilee, and who belonged to a covenant or sect against the man-power or Roman occupation, informed Emmanuel of my wrongdoings, because he hoped that he would be repaid or rewarded. But Emmanuel thanked him and did not repay him with any gifts whatever. So Judas Ischkerioth thought of revenge, for he was greedy for gold, silver, and goods, and was obsessively or lustfully connected to wretched and shameful or whoring women. But I, Judas Ischkerioth, was led by Emmanuel into the desert, by the Jordan, where, for 3 days and 3 nights, he instructed or taught me much in the teaching of right and unright. Thus I, as his disciple, showed remorse, and thereupon followed the teaching of Emmanuel. When I returned to the city, I distributed all my possessions and the collections among the poor, and became a trusted disciple of Emmanuel. At that time, however, it happened that the records, or the writings, notes, about Emmanuel and his accomplishments, or works, were stolen from me, Judas Ischkerioth. Therefore all records, in which I reported on the teaching of Emmanuel, were stolen from me, so I reported it to him. But he spoke, Truly, truly I say to you, Judas Ischkerioth, you will suffer even further worse things. For not only are your records, or writings, notes, about my teaching and my life gone, or lost, stolen, but it will also be that you will be slandered, or calumniated. For over 2 times 1,000 years you will be innocently accused of betraying me, because Simeon Ischkerioth, the Pharisee, wants it so. And Simeon Ischkerioth, the Pharisee, writes a scroll in which he slanders, or calumniates, you and me, that we have formed an agreement or pact together, that you will betray me, and I should be captured and killed, so that my teaching will be preserved, and will be testimony, or will be handed down, for all time. But his son, Judas Ischkerioth, is the real culprit. He is natured or formed like his father, Simeon Ischkerioth, the Pharisee, who seeks my life. He is, therefore, the one who stole the writings from you, and brought them to the scribes and Pharisees, that they may thereby punish or judge me and put me to death. He received 70 pieces of silver for your records, or notes, writings, and he is to receive another 30 pieces of silver when he makes it possible to betray me to the executors. Truly I say to you, he will certainly succeed in this, and for 2 times 1,000 years you will innocently atone for it, so you will become a tormented one, or martyr. But report or write down my teaching, and the truth about my life another time, for the time will come when your writing will be revealed in 2 times 1,000 years. Until then my teaching will be falsified, and it will turn into an evil cult or religion, sect, and thus it will be that much human blood will flow because of the new cult, or Christianity and its sects, which will wrongly arise from my teaching and bring forth many zealots, or fanatics. And a supreme one, or highest one of the Christian cult equals Pope, will be appointed for the new cult, or Christianity, and he will call himself the representative, or agent, deputy, in my name, and the representative, or agent deputy, of a hazy picture, or delusional construction, which the new cult will call, quote, God. And in the coming time, the God believers in this land will tolerate the fact that the cult also arises or comes about in their land, and that two evil cult sites, or Jerusalem and Bethlehem, are built among them for me and in my name. But the human species are still not prepared to comprehend my teaching, that the truth may become recognized. So it will only be in the distant time to come, or future, that my teaching becomes newly disseminated, with new words, and in a better directed manner, as I do it today, since the human species still languish in great unknowledgeness, because they still lack the thirst for knowledge, which will only rise up within them in the time to come, or future, when the search for the truth will awaken within them. Not until 2 times 1,000 years will an unassuming man come as prophet of the new time, and he will teach my teaching as truth, when he will at that time be my new self, or personality, and will know the, quote, teaching of the truth, teaching of spirit, teaching of life, which is the, quote, teaching of the prophets, which he will then strew or disseminate with great courage unto the ends of the world, or worldwide. He will be cursed by the false cults, or Christianity, religions, sects, evilly arising from my teaching through zealots, or fanatics, and their allies, and by pedants, or know-it-alls, of the confused teachings about me, and will be accused of being a manipulator, or cheater, and an obscurer, or liar, as it also happens to me in this time. But you, Judas Ischkerioth, you will until then be innocently slandered or calumniated as my betrayer, and thus be condemned, as a result of the falseness of the chief priests and the lack of understanding of the human beings. But pay no attention to this lie, for the teaching of the truth demands sacrifices that must be made. The human beings are still small and unknowing in their spirits, or consciousness, and knowledge. Therefore, many of them must first take upon themselves much guilt and error, before they thereby grasp or learn, and accumulate knowledge and wisdom, so as to recognize the truth. For all of this to take place, however, so that the knowledge of the truth will bring forth a rich harvest among the human beings, report or write down my teaching.